Hello, everybody. Thank you. My name's Jody Santagate. I'm going to call this meeting to order at 11:15 on February 21st. This is the Wareham Council on Aging Board of Directors meeting. We don't have a clerk at this time, but I do have a pro tem clerk today, which is Marie Riley. So the clerk will take the roll call.
Okay, roll call for today will be Jody Santagate as our chairperson. We have Sharon Boyer, Nancy Sawyer. Oh, thank you, Sawyer. Thank you. Lynn Beaupre, Marie Riley, and Sharon Frank. We have our director of the COA here, Sharon Rice, and we have Judy Westgate here from the Whiteside. I'm sorry, Judy Whiteside from the Selectman's office, and a room full of attendees.
Guests.
Thank you.
That's so good. Wow.
So now we will have a moment of silence for the sick and departed. Thank you. Okay, just to note, there are no meeting minutes to review for this meeting. Next on the agenda is presentation by Senior Advocates Friends. That would be Muriel. Would you like to approach the table, please? Thank you.
Absolutely.
For sure. These things are all on, right? This is certainly different from the old days. It's so formal now. Is this on? You can hear me fine?
Yes.
Okay. Well, Sharon Frank asked me to be here to clarify the role of the advocates to the Council on Aging. Actually, we have no role in the Council on Aging, but we give to the Council on Aging because we want to, not because we're obligated to. But we have no direct connection to the COA. We're like any other 501c3 nonprofit, but it's easier for the advocates to distribute any benefits through the Council on Aging. For instance, food cards. You already have a system in place that we just give you the food cards and you're able to distribute them to people who actually need them, okay? Now, when you have $1,500 was given to the advocates for the building, okay, for a building fund, and that was given to you, or to us actually, because we thought that it would be imminent that we would be in DECUS. But we're holding that aside. As you know, I've explained this to you before, that that's your money. It's in our account, but it's your money when we get into DECUS. Now, when you started the bingo and we realized you weren't making any money, we decided to do a 50-50 at the invitation of Missy DeZigzag, okay? Because at least that gave you an opportunity to make a few dollars. So that's been added to the account, to the $1,500. So you have, I think, $2,100. So you've made $640 on the bingo 50-50 raffle. Okay, so that's all put aside for you. So when the time comes, okay, now we operate mostly on reimbursement grants. Okay, we pay for your postage. Okay, that's through a reimbursement grant through the Community Events Committee. And that covers your postage for a year, plus it also allows for an ad in the Beacon for $1,000, okay, which adds to paying for your Beacon, actually. And I made myself some notes here. We are very small. We're a very small organization. I think we have 6 members, you know. But Sharon and I have been talking about having a membership drive to increase our membership and hopefully our funds, you know, but we haven't had any major fundraising events because we don't have the bodies to run any fundraisers. So we're hoping to get into that, and we'll probably have an open meeting for membership in April or May. Okay. That's about it. Any questions?
I have one.
Okay.
My question is the only funding that you're having right now is through the 50/50 raffle from bingo?
No.
Or do you have other ways that
We
you
have a
fund?
major funding comes from the Onset Beach Yoga Group. They meet on Saturday morning. Well, during the summer, it's in Shell Point, and in the winter, it's at St. Margaret's Church Hall. They split their proceeds. They give us $1,500 a year, and then when we reach the $1,500, they go to the Summer of Love concerts, and then they'll raise $1,500 for them. So they switch back and forth. So we're almost guaranteed the $1,500. But that's, that's free money for us to use, But we benefit the Council on Aging is what we use. We've done some programs at the council. We've did a couple of trips down the canal on the Viking for seniors a few years ago. Of course, the pandemic didn't help us either, with any fundraising. So, but that's where our major funding comes from.
And that does cover the postage for the
No,
beacon?
the postage actually comes from a grant from the Community Events Committee. Okay, we have to apply for that. Every year you have to apply for it. And we've been very lucky. They've given us enough money to cover the postage. And of course, I'll go buy the stamps, and Sharon and her group will handle, the mailing itself, But so far, this year, it's covered all the postage entirely, so.
Muriel, may I ask what the annual membership fee is for the advocates? Just so that-
$10. $10.
$10 a year, that's amazing.
Yeah, I had some brochures passed along.
Yeah, we have some on the table for
Oh,
anybody.
okay, yeah.
We all
yeah.
have one.
Yeah, that's an old one. I'm working on a new one for our meeting, if hopefully, keep your fingers crossed.
Thank you.
Yeah, but it's only $10. And if you notice on the original brochure, we had also tried to get beacon sponsors, to pay for the beacon. But I think we raised a total of $30, so, that didn't go over so well. But, so
Muriel,
there.
at what stage at this point, how many members do you have?
I think we have 6.
6?
Yeah, including you and me.
I'll be there.
There's
Do
3
you have
of us.
meetings? Do you have meetings? And
Well, we haven't had official meetings because it's just Sharon and I usually that do all the, do anything involved. And our meetings are mostly over the phone, okay, yes, okay, no. But we would like to have a membership drive, hopefully get some members that will volunteer for things,
We haven't had the time or the energy up to this point to actually do something with the advocates the way that we should.
Right, yeah, now that I'm not doing the
Until we
beacon
had a
anymore.
director,
Sorry.
our energy went into trying to run programs here. Now that we don't have that responsibility anymore, now Muriel and I feel that we now have the time and the energy to devote to making the advocates become a viable organization. And this is why we're talking about membership drive, and publicity and brochure. We feel now we've got time. Now that Muriel's not doing the beacon anymore, I'm not chairman anymore, we have time now to devote to advocates. And hopefully within a year, it will become a very viable arm of senior support in Wareham.
That's what we're hoping for.
yeah.
So-
I remember the canal cruise, and that was a full boat,
Oh, yeah,
very
2
successful.
trips, yep.
Yeah, we
It was
did
very
several of
nice.
those.
Yeah. See, now that was partially funded by the New Bedford, not Red Cross, another organization, but we had to apply for a grant for that. But it's also a participation grant This is why we keep a minimum in our account of $3,000. Because if you come across a grant that they ask you, well, how much are you willing to contribute? You know, and you say $1,000, you better have that $1,000, you know, and then they'll partially fund your program. Yeah, so we got that through New Bedford.
Are there any further questions? Well, I thank you for your time, and thank you for what you do to help the
Thank you for
COA.
having me. Thank you.
Sure.
Wow.
Fill out your membership application on your way out the door.
Okay, so next on the agenda is our volunteer coordinator update. Is Lynn present?
No.
No, she's not. Does anybody have anything to say about anything? Okay, moving on. Director's update?
I don't have a lot, but our March newsletters arrived today, and they look pretty good. There was one mistake on the back, one mistake that I know of anyway. Instead of being February, it should be March the 10th. The date is right, the month is wrong. So Sharon has organized the troops, and they'll be stickering today. And
All done.
We're all done.
they're all done? Oh, my.
Yep.
Okay. All 2,000?
Yep.
For
Yes.
those of
Get
you who-
out.
For those of you who pick up to distribute, they are done, they're banded in 50s like always, and they're in what used to be the
Daycare.
daycare room. So they're all ready to go. You can take them with you when you leave, those of you who do that.
Wonderful ladies and gentlemen that came this morning for coffee and conversation, slapped
Just got
labels
drafted.
on 2,000.
They got drafted that said, here's your
2,000
share.
They had to work for that coffee.
And counted them up and counted out 400 for one and packages of 50s for the other, and we got it all done.
Oh,
It was
excellent.
awesome. We had a
Now,
great time.
For anybody who has time when we leave here, we still have not folded all 415 that get mailed, and we haven't stuffed 415 envelopes. Or
And
put
labeled
on
them and
415
stamped them.
labels. So if you have time after the meeting, come back downstairs and we'll get busy and we'll finish that job
And there's
up.
still goodies and coffee and tea
And
left.
get it mailed, so. That's an open invitation to any of you who've got an hour after the meeting, or a half hour, however many minutes you can give us.
Okay. And the additional roll of stamps came today? Okay. And I just realized now I didn't bring the stamps down there. I have those in my office, so. So thanks to some super diligence on the part of Sharon Frank, we finally know what application we have to fill out for our bulk mail permit. And so we're getting that rolling. It has been, I started the process when I first got here 4 months ago, and it's taken this long. The post office is, they just don't return calls, and it's been very frustrating. So I thank Sharon and Lou Birdie, who's not here today, but they worked really hard to pick up the torch and be persistent until we got some answers, so that's a good thing. In other news, Anna Bolano, who has been a fixture here at the COA for over a decade, I believe, is retiring. So we're happy for her and sad for us, and her last day is a week from today. So please wish her well. She's been a great help to me personally and is just a really kind individual. So. And just to kind of round out the week, tomorrow we have our bingo lunch, and it's our second bingo of the month. And we have the Monahans, Tom and Sheila, who will be here on Friday. And that kind of wraps up our February activities. So that's about it for me. Yes.
Run that by me again. Tom and Sheila will be here Friday.
Friday. They're doing their red and scarlet,
Gone with the Wind.
Gone with the Wind kind of.
Lunch for what?
No.
It's not a lunch, no. It's just a,
What time?
10:30 to 11:30.
thank you.
Oh,
I don't-
okay. Okay.
Okay. So that comes to me, Chairman update. You'll see I gave my board members a little snippet. You'll see the paper. This is for the board only to look at. Further down on the agenda, you'll see we have 2 applicants to vote on. So this little snippet is just a little bit about what they wrote on their application. I also have a letter that we'll go over. I'll add this under the 48 hours at the end. But we've discussed before Nicole Botello from All American being the clerk. So she's here today. I have a letter. I'll pass it over if you'd like to read her letter of interest. I have that. And then I asked Miss Whiteside to come so that she could kind of assist me, in trying to get the COA and the town as a whole back on track. There's some things that we have to do. One of them is that the COA volunteers are a board of 9 members, she writes, whose terms should be staggered to reflect that 3 members have terms that expire on 3 consecutive years. We haven't done that properly, and so if you wouldn't mind waiting a few minutes after the meeting, she'll help us try to get us all staggered. I don't know if I said that appropriately or not, but it's quite simple. If you wouldn't mind staying a few minutes after, we just got to get that handled. There is some documentation missing. I did give it to Marie, so she took care of that for her. Let's see. In reviewing records, we have also found that some of the members have not completed the open meeting law training. So we have Missy, Nancy, and Lynn. So that I can help you. You go online, you do it. It's quite simple. Then you get your little certificate.
You have to do it every year, or what?
They're asking Ms. Whiteside if they have to do it every year, because Lynn's saying she did it.
Every 2 years?
Every 2 years for the open meeting, and for the ethics, it's every 1 year.
Okay, so we'll have to also get that taken care of, some of us on the board. Other than that, I don't have anything. I don't know if you wanted to add anything, Ms. Whiteside, that you think we should be doing to dot our i's and cross our t's? No.
Thank you for inviting me, and I just have a list of the things that you and I went over
Yep.
before, and I'd be happy to stay after the meeting and help people get stuff straightened out. I had asked Ms. Rice if she would make computer space available for people who might not have computers at home, or who might be like me with fat fingers, and I frequently type what not really sure what I type. Thank you.
Thank you. So that's all I have. If anybody has any questions for me in regards to anything.
I'm sorry, Jody, did you mention the board getting quarried? I can't remember.
Oh, yes. So also, we should also, all of us on the board, we're going to have to get quarried. So Sharon, will you have the forms for that?
Mm-hmm.
How often is that?
I'm going to turn to Doreen and the audience there. How often does people need to be quarried?
Every time there's a new member.
Oh, just new members, okay.
And if I don't have an existing quarry on file, then we should quarry everybody.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Bob, did you want me to repeat that for the record? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
Oh, she
he
needs to
couldn't
come up to
hear.
the mic.
She needs to come up to the mic so that everyone can hear, even the people at home. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Doreen Allen England, the Assistant Town Administrator and HR Director. Everyone who volunteers should be quarried and sorried at the beginning of their volunteership. If I don't have existing quarry and sorries on file, it wouldn't hurt to do everyone. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I agree. The board will take care of all of that. Thank you.
Excuse me, is that every I'm sorry, Doreen, thank you.
It's okay.
Is that every volunteer that comes and helps us out with anything that we're doing
Yes.
with our programs?
Yes.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
good.
and
Then
we
that's going to be a
have-
lot of people.
We have been.
Even my people who stuff the newsletters, they
Yes.
have to.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. That's a surprise. We will
We've been
take care of it.
doing it recently, but I don't know what's been done prior. And it doesn't sound like the board has
hasn't
been
been, right.
quarried at all, so.
We're playing catch-up now.
Yeah, it's Corey and sorry, so criminal offender and sexual offender.
Okay.
Okay? All right.
Is that all in one form?
Yes. Yes, and I run them. So it's a simple, just filling out the form, takes 30 seconds, and then I run them through the state.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. That's also very good
Is there a
information.
cost for that? I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
Is there a cost for having the Cory and,
No.
oh, there is not, okay.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you. Okay, so that brings us up to, oh, yep, sorry, thank you. Could you please, is the Cory Sorry form online? Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Did you have any other questions? No? Okay, moving on. Okay, discussion and possible vote on interested parties who have submitted an application to join the COA Board of Directors. So my board will see the little flyer I gave you. And this is, so we have two members. We received an application from Elaine Lemoyne and Jim Muniz. So if you wouldn't mind, I'll call one at a time up, and if the board has any questions or if there's anything you'd like to say. Yep.
Just a clarification, you have a slot for one member.
Yes.
You may have two applicants.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
I don't know how that,
She'll go over that after the meeting with us, because she's a little bit confused. She thought we had two slots open. If you want to clarify now, please, that's fine.
Oh, I'll give you my seat.
Yep, she is, Bob.
According to our bylaws, you are to have 9 full-time members, and you are allowed 2 associates. The associates do not vote, but they learn the ropes, if you will, okay? I double-checked because the website was showing 11 members, but what it really was doing was counting the 9 plus 2. So that clarification needs to be, okay. And I can't remember the section of the bylaw. I should have written it down, but
I have it here, and we've actually, as a board, been going over our bylaws and making amendments and reviewing. So we went over this. It's Article 3 membership. We went over this months ago. It says, the members of the Council on Aging Board of Directors shall be appointed by the Wareham Board of Selectmen. The board shall consist of 9 members, shall be residents and registered voters of the town of Wareham, 4 members for 3 years, 4 members for 2 years, and 1 member for 1 year. Members may be reappointed for successive terms. The members of board shall serve without pay whenever a vacancy shall occur in the membership of the board by reason of death, resignation, inability to act, or for any other reason, the vacancy shall be filled by appointment by the Board of Selectmen for the remainder of the term. Members must abide by the bylaws of the town of Wareham and the conflict of interest laws. And then we added, members must complete conflict of interest and open meeting law online training prior to being appointed by the Board of Selectmen. So in the red packets that my board has, we have our bylaws, and it says right in here that we are 9. So that's correct. It just was, the online was wrong.
That's fine. It actually was in the town bylaws as well, so there was confusion, and I apologize for that.
tried for years to get that corrected from 11 to 9.
I know. Well, I finally got it done on Friday. Promise.
It's accurate now.
And the other thing is that if you make an appointment today, then we're going to have to figure out the expiration date, because you and I have already talked about the expiration dates being not staggered. And the point is to have 3 expire every year in successive years. When it was originally set up, it was 4, 3, and 2, just to make the rotation work. I can show it to you on a piece of paper. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So, clarifying, we have 2 applicants currently that I've received through the clerk who are here today to discuss why they'd like to join the board, and if my board has any questions for them or comments, that's fine, and we possibly will vote depending on how people feel. So, Elaine, if you wouldn't mind approaching the microphone, please. This is Elaine Lemoyne, and am I saying that correctly?
Yes.
Thank you for joining us. I read that it says the reason that you would like to join is you enjoy being around people and helping out. Thank you. I think that's wonderful.
Yeah.
I don't know if you'd like to say a little bit.
Well, I originally came from East Bridgewater. I lived there 49 years. I left because my husband passed on. But while I lived in East Bridgewater, I worked for the police department, I worked for the school system, I worked for auto insurance, and ran our own business. And I find working and dealing with people is satisfying for me, and if I can assist anybody in any way possible, I'm the first one to be there. I've already helped out quite a few times, and I joined the belly dancing,
The senior exercise.
the secret exercise, and then I do the 2 morning, Monday and Wednesday exercise with Natty, and I also do the hip-hop jazz program. And I just look forward. I've dealt with attorneys over the years, doctors, you name it. Was responsible at the insurance company. So, and I look forward to being able to help and assist with everything else. Today, I'm going to be passing out the Beacon pamphlets for Sharon.
I will say, it's nice to have you around the senior center. I see you a lot, and I think one of the big things about being on the board is someone that's here that sees what's going on.
Right.
And joins in with things. I think that's important, so you know what's happening, you know the people that are here, you can make some, I guess, gosh, I'm missing that word.
Connections?
But anyway, when you see people, you can see if they need some help. You can see if they need to talk to one of our outwork reachers. So it's nice when you're around and you get to know people. And I think that's a really good, positive thing for a board member.
Yep.
I think we should note here that Elaine has been part of the senior exercise class since we were tossed out of here and then tossed out of the next location, and we were down in East Wareham
Yep,
in a space that used to be used by the theater group.
the theater group.
There's a dark, dismal, awful place. And she has stuck with Marge and the rest of us since that time, and has been a devoted member of that group. And I figure anybody that could stick with us through all of that certainly can handle whatever happens in this building. So thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else have any questions? Do you have any knowledge on helping run a board as far as like the process? Because we're still learning. I'm still learning the ropes, or...
Not really, I mean, like I said, I was more involved with running my own company, well, family company, and working for the police department and the school system, like cleaning and helping assist with the foods and helping the elderlies when they came in on Wednesdays for their free lunchings,
Okay,
But I'm willing to help where I can help.
thank
How
you.
about computer skills?
To be honest, I haven't worked in 8 years, so my computer skills have gone down the drain. I mean, I can get on my phone and my iPad, but, to jump around and do programs and everything. I worked with 2 monitors at the insurance company. Yeah, so,
Beyond me.
Well, it sounds like you're very capable and willing to help. Have you been on the list at all for the volunteers since you've volunteered so well and get along so well?
I just got,
There is a
Oh, yeah.
list of, yes.
Oh,
No, I'm
yeah.
just saying, there is a list of volunteers that Lynn Birdie runs. Have you been on that list to help out for different
no,
programs?
it's just been, Elaine, can you come? And I said, I'll be there.
Yeah, she's.
Because she
yeah.
sounds like she's a great volunteer for that program.
We've got her dead to rights. Yes, ma'am. Oh, yeah.
Lynn Uberti is our volunteer coordinator.
Yes.
And Lynn's the one that
We
says-
danced together.
Yes, right. Lynn says to Elaine, we need this and this and this. And so, yeah, she's.
Yeah,
on
anytime
there.
Lynn says, I need help, I'm right there. Sharon says, I need help, I'm right there.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
for that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome, thank you.
Okay, so our next applicant, if he wouldn't mind, is Jim Muniz. Thank you for coming, and thank you for applying.
Hello, everybody.
Hi.
Thanks for having me.
Hi, Jim.
Hello.
If you could tell us a little bit about yourself and, what made you be
I've
interested?
lived in town for 40 years. I was a selectman for 3 years. I was on the Affordable Housing Trust. I was on the Regional Refuse Committee. I worked at Bridgewater State College or University for 40 years, and I'm used to committee work. And I've been coming to the council on and off at the coffee hour mostly, visiting with the people who come there and, chatting, seeing what's going on within the council and programming. Programming's a big thing, I believe. And I think, personally, I think we could have some programming related to education and, as someone was speaking about computer skills, and maybe things like, using Facebook or Zooming for meetings and things like that. And I don't know how many computers that the council has at their disposal to use within the
There are two very old computers.
center, but that would be good to have. I think I have an understanding, and it's my age group now, surprisingly, or luckily, I don't know how you want to look at that. So I think you probably got my narrative. If you have any questions, I'd be more than willing to answer them.
Does my board have any questions for Mr. Muniz?
Would you be willing to teach these classes?
I could help out. I'm not, like, I can utilize the programs, and I could help out, and I'd be willing to try to find people who could do that. Of course, it'd have to be quarried and sorried, which was news to me, because I've never had that done on any of the committees I was on.
Yeah, right.
Even as selectman?
No, not as a selectman, not as
Really?
any of the boards I was on.
Shocking.
Yeah.
Are you planning on going back on the board at any time?
I don't know. I may not. That's an elected position.
Right.
I don't know if that would,
That would be quite a drain on your time.
Excuse me, could the audience please remain quiet? We're picking you up. Thank you.
No.
Not, I'm sorry, he's,
Get down.
oh, you can't hear? Bob, they can't hear. Can you hear me? Yes. Okay, so Mr. Muniz, could you just speak
Can you hear me,
closer?
Bob?
Can you guys hear him now? Jim, speak.
Huh?
They're saying they can't hear you. So could you please speak louder?
Well, bring your microphone closer.
Yeah, I'll be eating it.
Have a
Can you hear me
green light
now?
on your, do you
He
have a
does.
green light on your
It's
microphone?
on.
Can you hear him now? Okay, thank you.
Is that good? Is that better? So, where were we at?
Were you going to go back on the select board?
I don't know. At this point in time, I don't believe nominations are closed, but there's always that possibility. And I don't know if it would make it so that I could not be on both boards. I don't believe that's a...
Yeah, I think that's a conflict.
But I would look, personally, I'd look myself before I put myself in that situation. But also, is there our associate members who may be appointed by the board? I mean, that's always a possibility. You could recommend one and recommend the other, and the select board could make that decision. And I know you don't vote, but you can still have input on the discussion, which can be helpful also.
Have you participated in any of the programs offered by the COA over a period of time? And when again were you on the select board?
Past 3 years.
Past 2 years?
3 years. Previous to this term, last term was 3 years. I'm surprised you didn't know that, but. And do I participate? Yeah, come down to the coffee hour and discuss things. Do I do the exercise programs? No, I have some properties I take care of, so I do that. And I did shoot pool this morning. I did fold, I did put stickers on the beacon.
Yes, he did.
I got
Yes, he did.
lassoed into
This
that.
morning.
So when I'm around, I don't mind helping. I stay busy.
Do you know anything about, I'm going to ask you what I asked her, municipal law and how things operate as far as if we, as a board here, get stumped. Would you be able to add any input or, knowledge?
I do, and I tend to review, like your operating procedures. I looked at those. I looked at the composition of the board, and we had that discussion with Sharon and Marie this morning about the associates' positions. And that was done in the fall of 2010 by town meeting vote, when it was reduced to 9, in creating the 2 positions as associates.
Oh, so that's where it came from.
And
Yeah.
then, 2010?
Fall 2010, Article 85.
Okay.
So I tend to look at those things. I guess you have to, if you're going to be on a board, to follow policy and procedure. And I do the best I can.
I told her she could not be an associate member.
Well, as far as the question that my previous board member asked about if you were going to run for selectman or not, I don't really think that matters because I ran for selectman last year and I was on this board too. So for me, that doesn't really add up to much. Does anybody have any questions further?
It's a division of
Anyone?
interest.
A positive point on that would be having a gentleman on the board for a different perspective.
Yeah, I think I had put that in my narrative. I think you all do a great job and appreciate, your efforts in volunteering. And oftentimes, I never really see a full board. And, I know people have, things in life and that interfere, a full board as far as participating at the meetings. And I would be here for the meetings and do what I can to help out during the day, but I could not commit to like every day. I mean, I could do it maybe one day a week for a period of time, for a time slot, but as I'm fairly busy with other things too, and I try to fit the time in.
Well, okay. Go ahead,
No,
Marie.
that's understandable. Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Good?
Anybody have any further questions?
Well, I'm going to ask this. So as your timeline, do you prefer to be on the board or would you prefer to be an associate?
Whatever works out. I wasn't sure the structure, but when I of what was allowed for the associates, I went and the town clerk's website to the town meeting warrant, and that's where it said that it was a non-voting member.
Right.
Whereas other committees, if a member's not present, the zoning board of appeals, the associate member can step in and be a voting member. So, I mean, that was clarified in what the town meeting body voted on as the motion was presented.
So that would also extend to any other board? Or just that board?
No, it depends on how the,
Bylaws
How
have to
our
say-
bylaws are.
well, now, I believe it would have to be changed if you wanted to have them as a voting member. In the absence of a full member, you'd have to do that through town meeting body,
Oh, okay.
because that's how the,
So that wasn't
Article
blanket
is
across the
regulated.
town, that was just that one board? Okay.
correct.
Okay.
Each board can have different rules.
Thank you
We
on
just
that.
have to present that at town meeting and get it.
Okay, so if there's no more questions for either applicant,
Thank you.
Thank you.
thank you. We can go into a discussion
Yep.
about this? Because it's, where are we?
Be here.
Discussion and possible vote on interested parties. What- Elaine Lemoyne was the first candidate, and our second candidate was Jim Muniz.
We can barely beat her. What good is it?
I guess I'll begin the discussion. As a board member, who came, I don't know, a year and a half ago or something, and I'm the chairman now, but everybody knows that's just a title to me. I work as a group here. I'm looking to grow the board and see, where we can go and how we can support the COA and support the director. And oftentimes I find we get stumped with like little questions about things that we don't know. Is this legal? Is it right? Is it not? And, I would like to see somebody who could help us along the way. We have a volunteer coordinator now, Lynn, who is great, and we need volunteers for lots of stuff. So that's all I have to say, I guess, about the two candidates. Anybody else?
My position on this is, I totally understand that we really need someone that can tell us what's right and what's wrong, because a lot of times it's like, can we do that? Is that something we have to do? Do we have to have it, that we found out that we have to have things on the agenda before we can talk about them and all of that. So that would be positive. But the other thing is we still need a lot of help around the building with all the programs going on. One of the things that we have yet to be able to do is to have a responsible person, not necessarily a board member, but a responsible person at any program that's happening that can take over and introduce whoever is doing a program and be responsible for everything that's involved with that, whether you're going to have, coffee and goodies there, or whether it's going to be just a quiet program in a little room for an hour, or, so we don't have the people to do that. And I think they kind of need to be board members that will be available to, when Sharon says, well, I've got so-and-so coming in to talk about this, well, you've got to have somebody to take responsibility for that. And obviously Sharon can't do it because her job is so all-encompassing. We need someone that can come in and take that over. And it needs to be someone who's here seeing how things work all the time. You know what I mean?
In my opinion, that goes under the volunteer coordinator.
Lynn.
Right.
That's her job to find the volunteers
It's her job to find a
for the.
volunteer that's going
Yes.
to help out with that, but we need a responsible person, as yourself, who came in
Has some
for,
authority.
when we had the heat problem, and we had people coming in here because they had to get out of the heat, or people that had to come in out of the cold. You came
Yes.
and you stayed.
Yes,
And-
I did.
And you had movies for people, and you made sure everyone was comfortable, and you made sure people had a way to get home and all of that stuff. We need somebody that's here when something
Am I
like this comes up.
moving in?
Well, I think
Well,
we
you did
were,
last year for 2 or 3 days.
we were
But I'm
in-
saying we just need someone that knows the workings of the building.
I see.
It's just, I think that's kind of what I think of a board member, is somebody that really knows what's going on, the workings inside the building, because they're here, and they see it every day, or they see it 3 or 4 days a week. And, and I think that's part of our volunteer. We meet once a month, sometimes twice a month, but it certainly is much more encompassing than that. It's multiple days during the week to be here, to see somebody walk in the door looking like this and say, well, can I help you? What are you looking for? And I can help you get there. And I think that's kind of things that people come in and don't know where to go, and someone's sitting downstairs having a cup of coffee, you can holler up, hey, let me show you where you have to go, where you want to be.
So
You're
would you
looking for.
say that we actually need a greeter?
Yeah,
couldn't hurt. I
Yeah,
understand
okay.
that we were totally embarrassed when the fella came to talk about the deeds and
Yeah.
and wills and whatever that was, because
there was nobody
there
there.
was no preparation for him.
Yeah, so,
He didn't know where he was supposed
Well,
to
that-
be. There was nobody here to greet him. There was nobody here to help him set up.
May I just say that was before I started?
Yes, it was.
Okay, thank you.
The mission, according to our bylaws, Article 2, our mission is, the mission of the Wareham Council on Aging Board of Directors is to coordinate the needs of Wareham's elders with the available resources and to support and promote all the programs designed to assist elders in Wareham. As a board, and I could be wrong because I'm just one person on this board, I think we're here more to support the director and oversee things. Yes, and every time we have an activity or a program, we definitely have to have, or a big to-do like the deed or the bingo or the dances, board members should most definitely be present. But all that other stuff, I feel like that's why we got Lynn for in the volunteer coordinator position, that we brought that on so that we would have volunteers to volunteer to help out throughout the day. That's just my understanding of it.
Okay.
But as a board, we're more like professional and handling business.
May I make a suggestion?
Please.
We have to figure out the correct rotation. Your associate members are one-year appointments. And so perhaps you would do your fixing of the rotation and put off your voting to another meeting. That would be my recommendation if I were in the situation of having to fix the paperwork. But that's only my suggestion.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I would entertain a motion. Does somebody want to vote to move this vote to the next meeting? Voting on selecting an applicant? Or are people comfortable with selecting an applicant now? Or do you want to wait till we fix the rotation?
Yes, I would prefer to fix the rotation prior to voting.
Second.
Okay, so then that would mean, our next meeting will be, oh, my phone's off, the first Thursday of March, which I think is March 2nd.
March 2nd.
Is it March 2nd?
Yep.
So we will pick the applicant at that meeting.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
That's next week.
It's coming quick.
Next week? That's next week.
After.
Yeah, it's next week.
It's here.
Here.
Our meetings are in the same, yes, and they're listed on the agenda, which is online. I'm speaking. No, it's on our agenda, and it's clearly posted on the top. I actually have it highlighted in yellow. Room 320, our meetings have been moved to the Selectmen's meeting. That's where we've been, and that's where we'll be next time, here, the first Thursday at 10 a.m. of March.
Okay, thank you.
I just wanted to let you know that the desk didn't know that downstairs.
Okay, thank you. Moving on. Discussion and possible vote on returning to once-a-month board meetings. So we had come as a board and we decided to meet bi-monthly because we have a lot of changes. We have a new director and we had a lot of stuff going on. A few people on the board have mentioned that maybe they'd like to go back to once a month. I think meeting once a month is fine, but we should also leave it where if we need to call a meeting to come in, you know, if something arises, then we can call a meeting. Two board members can call a meeting. So I will entertain a motion to vote to go back to meeting once a month, which would be the first Thursday, the original day.
Yeah, I so move.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So we will now, this will be our, moving forward, we will meet once a month, the first Thursday of every month at 10 a.m. here in the Selectmen's meeting room. Okay. Board member updates. Are there any updates from my board members?
No, we just want Janet to come back from Maine soon. Janet is still away taking care of her daughter's very good friends, twins, and 4 other children.
Who are homeschooled.
Okay, this would be time for public comment. If there's any public comment, you're welcome to come up, say your name, and you have 2 minutes to say something. Please, sir, approach the microphone.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Jim Smith. With Onset. I've lived here almost 10 years. I was a member of the Conservation Commission at one point. I'm a driver for Meals on Wheels, okay? And we give out, when we deliver our meals, we deliver out your bulletin once a month when you print it. And I happened to notice there were no women on the board. So I asked the question, and I says, is this prejudice? And of course, the girls laughed, and I didn't mean to insult anybody. But I was interested, but now, if Jim Manise is going to be on your board, I don't need to worry about that. So, but I have a question. I've been to 2 meetings now, and there's never been more than 6 board members at the meetings. That seems like you're wasting time. If they can't make it, I'm sorry. I don't know why, that does not matter to me. But you seem to have 3 openings to fill, even though on paper you have all 9 people. So I don't know what that means, except you should consider that when you're deciding who gets 4 years, 3 years, 1 year, if Jim's going to be an associate or what. I think those are things you need to consider, and I'd be glad to be a volunteer. I don't have to be on your board if Jim's going to be on your board, even though 2 of us would be good, but anyway.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Just to clarify, our one member who is not here today, as Marie just said, she's in Maine helping a friend's daughter take care of 2 brand-new babies.
Oh, wow. Yeah, great for her.
And homeschool the other 4
And the
children.
other 4 are homeschooled. So,
I was just trying to insult
yeah, if
anybody.
we don't hear from her soon, we're going to go rescue her.
Yeah, but I'm just saying. I've
That's
been
only
here twice.
7.
Yes,
There's never been
yeah,
more than 6.
that's a valid point. Thank you.
Who's
That's all
missing?
we have is
So
seven.
who's missing?
It's,
I think we have 7, so we have 2.
Missy
we have
K
two
only,
full openings.
Missy K only meets
Oh, Missy-
once a
Missy-
month.
Missy
She'll be,
once, yeah, she'll be on
we
the-
have one member that she always makes our first meeting, but then we change to 2 meetings and work, she can't, so that's why she's not here. Okay, there's no further public comment. That brings us to any other business not anticipated within 48 hours of the posting. So I want to do public comment. Oh, you want to go public comment? Okay, that's fine. Please, 2 minutes.
Are you timing?
My phone's dead. So wait till she starts, please.
Good morning.
Just
I can't take my mask off because I'm in a bubble, so I'll talk slow and clearly so you can understand.
Just please understand, for public comment, you only have 2 minutes.
Okay. First, I'm asking...
Could you state your name,
My name is Judy Grassi, Judith M. Grassi. I do a lot of patient education for seniors, basically anybody and everybody. I am asking, because I was asked by a veteran to have a second meeting during the month for current events. I have been further asked to switch it to more senior-focused. However, I would like to have the school be able to be a part of that because, for civics reasons. We have veterans that want to tell their stories, and if we have a situation where kids maybe in the ROTC might be able to listen to the stories, kind of hear what they're getting into, and, you know, they've got insight that they can help share with the seniors. It sounded like it might go over with the veterans. I didn't get to talk to a lot of them, but that's one of the things. The second thing is last week, I came in here last week and I dropped off stuff for overdose prevention, and I got in trouble for doing that. Fair enough. However, my next door neighbor overdosed before I came in here. She's 68 years old, and I had to call. Well, she thought she called 911, and I'm sitting there waiting for her, the ambulance to come, and I called the staff in the situation where I live in. One of them was a firefighter. Come to find out, she hadn't called 911. She was half in, half out before the ambulance came. I am in a situation where I am trying to advocate for people. I am trying to get help. I'm also trying to bring help to the community. I have several times tried to reach out to this board of selectmen to be able to help share the information. I've been in touch with the police and different people that are in the police station, Plymouth County Outreach, NAMI. There's a whole bunch of organizations that want to come in and be able to help our seniors get education and treatment if they need it. There are people that need it. We have people also that have lost their children and didn't have
Excuse me,
any
that's 2
resource.
minutes. Thank you. Okay.
May I speak?
Okay, if you'd like to, that's fine. Usually, public comment, we don't really have to,
Okay,
talk
I
back.
just would just like to go on
That's fine.
record to say that the current events program that Ms. Grassi referenced has been canceled. So the option of adding a second one or partnering with the school is not on the table because we're no longer offering those programs.
Thank you. Okay, so, we're going to go now back to, if there's no more public comment, we're going to go to any other business not anticipated within 48 hours of this posting. We had, as a board before, met with the two ladies from All American, one being Nicole Botello, and I passed out, she had emailed me a letter of interest. It's somewhere on the table.
Oh, we haven't seen it yet.
Yep. I would ask if Ms. Botello would approach the microphone. So she had submitted this letter with interest on becoming the clerk, a non-voting member.
We have not read
Yep.
the letter, so, excuse me.
That's okay. I understand you've got some people coming for bingo.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It would
that's
mean
terrific.
that-
They're very
we can ask Ms.
excited.
Whiteside. Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, it's not really 48-hour business, and so while you can, it's not 48-hour business, so you really can't. No, because to be 48-hour business, it has to be an emergency, something truly unforeseen. I'm guessing your discussion with her could wait a week, because that's basically what you're talking about, right?
Well, we don't have a clerk, so she was going to be our clerk who wasn't a board member. And as you know, we don't have a clerk, and each time we're going pro tem every meeting to have a clerk.
Okay, sorry.
So she's here to basically say would be our
That would be
clerk.
great, but in order for you to do that, you still have to follow the open meeting law, which requires that the 48-hour business be an emergency. So,
this would have to be on the agenda
for
in order
next
to
week.
vote.
yeah, so she could make the minutes, and she could hand them over to Ms. Sandegate, and they could be approved, and that's nice, until she is formally approved. I'm not convinced, I'm going to have to figure out how you get to be a volunteer clerk without being on the board.
Okay.
And that's kind of a question I'm going to have to figure out, too.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Nope, that's fine. This is
Yeah.
why we need people on the board with a little more
Okay,
expertise.
great. And it's nice to meet her, and it's great, and she's obviously been paying attention and listening. I've been listening to, and I know that you work for a really great business, and that's the kind of, people stepping up is what you really are
Yes.
looking for, and I think I would say thank you, even though I haven't met you, and even though I just said we can't appoint you.
I'm happy to help in any capacity.
Thank you. So we will be in touch with you for the next meeting, likely.
Okay.
Thank you.
Just wasted her time.
So after that, there's nothing else. I will entertain a motion to adjourn. Could somebody tell me the time, please? 12, is it?
12:14.
I would entertain a motion to adjourn at 12:14. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you.